when I meet homeowners when they want to sell their house, one of the questions I often get is, what am I going to get at the end, with all the closing costs? So I want to go over this today. And even a buyer, usually he wants to know how much money he needs to put aside to pay for the closing costs. So today we're going to talk about this, and I invited Corinne Braveman. She works for a title company. Corinne?
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. We're going to go over all the closing costs in much details. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so you can see my screen. So we're going to assume that we are selling a house, $500,000, and we're going to go over what the buyer usually pays and what the seller usually pays. Okay, so we can see first the closing fee. What are those, Corinne?
The closing fee varies between title companies and law firms, title companies, anywhere from, I've seen it, the lowest I think I've seen this week is $395 to $1,200-$1,500 depending on the company. So this varies, and what it includes is preparing all the closing documents and for the closer in the office to handle the processing of all the closing documents, to get everything signed, notarized, and taken care of on a cash deal.
Okay.
And recorded.
Okay, yeah, so this is a cash deal. So here you can see that the buyer and the seller pays the same amount depending on the title company. Now we're going to talk about the title insurance, the owner's title insurance, which is very important. And we can see here that it is the seller, usually, at least in Palm Beach County, usually the seller pays. It can vary from counties to counties, but in Palm Beach County, usually the seller pays. And we have for $500,000 property, we have here the amount. So why is the owner's title insurance so important, Corinne?
Good question. So yes, typically in Palm Beach County the seller pays, but it is always negotiable. So both agents and the buyers and sellers can discuss it. And it's based on the sales price, so that's the lowest allowed by law. People can charge more, but typically they don't. It's very competitive. So usually it's the lowest allowed, which is that, based on the sales price. And even if you're paying cash, do you have to have one? It's not required by law. If you have a mortgage, it is, but I highly recommend it because it's your biggest investment. If you're buying a $500,000 property, if you had a $500,000 car, or you feel you're worth at least $500,000, you wouldn't walk around without car insurance or health insurance, which is a monthly premium, right? This is a one-time premium when you buy the property, unless you refinance in the future, but then you would get a discount. So as long as you own the property, you would only pay one time $25.75. To me, for $500,000 of peace and knowing that you own the property free and clear. So it covers a lot. We issue a policy that says we have done a search to make sure you have no liens, somebody else doesn't own the property. The American Indians that were here or somebody before, they made a mistake when they bought or sold the property. There are a lot of issues that can come up. I just had one recently where it was a cash deal. It was empty land with cows, not even a house on the property, but yet there was encroachments on some of the side of the land in question because it was hundreds of acres. So we had to go over that and make it clear, and they had to look at the property themselves. So doing the due diligence. So it's definitely, I do not recommend buying any real estate without it, even if it's a $100,000 property.
Yes.
So it's
highly recommended.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have the abstract title search. This is, I think, the history of all the recorded documents about related to a specific property. Is that correct?
So initially we do a search. In the old days, when I first started, a long time ago, you would actually go to the courthouse and search these big documents. Now, most title companies and law firms don't even do their own search. Typically, they'll use a third party that does a very thorough search. A lot of it's electronic, but yes, they are searching the records to make sure that everybody was entitled correctly, people were married or divorced or deceased, if there's death certificates. There's a lot involved in a search. I used to do them myself, so I know. And then once that search has been done, before they'll issue a title insurance policy, you get a title commitment, before the policy is issued, and it will have everything that showed up in that search that might be an issue that needs to be cleared, whether we need a death certificate or there's a lien or anything that comes up, to issue a clear title policy. And that varies between company to company also.
Okay.
I've seen it everywhere from $75 to $500, depending what company does it and who's charging what.
So the municipality lien search, what does that cover? It's everything that maybe the owner didn't pay, like the electricity or the water or something else.
Correct. Water, anything. Every municipality is different, and then again, it's based on that city and that county. So all over Florida, when we do searches, because we do closings all over Florida, it varies from place to place.
Okay.
And that's not us making up the fee.
Right.
It's whatever that company charges to check all the municipal. And every municipality has different things that are covered.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So what is the estoppel? I think it's linked to HOA. Okay.
Right. So in Florida, people that come from other states, like when I came from up north, some states don't have planned unit developments or homeowners associations. So a planned unit development or HOA or condo association, they will typically charge anywhere, this is an estimate, they'll charge anywhere from $200 to, I think the most I've seen is maybe $500 lately.
Yeah.
And they have to complete a form that says if everything's been paid, their HOA fees are paid, if there's any assessments that are due or coming up. Some of the associations, they're all very different, so there's no standard. Some will say how many are rented versus owned. So, but that's, again, we don't charge this fee. It's if it's applicable, and it's whatever that management company or condo pays. Nothing to do with us.
Okay, so then we go a little bit down, and we have all the fees and stamps related to the recording and transfer. So let's talk about the high number here. Usually what the seller pays, the doc stamps deed. Can you tell us, because this is a pretty big amount. Again, it's for a $500,000 property. So what is it exactly, and does it vary with the title company, or is it something set by the state?
Yes. So correct. So it stands for documentary stamps on the deed, meaning on the sales price. So in this case, the sales price is $500,000. So it's 70 cents per $100 in the state of Florida. So on a $100,000 deal, it would be $700. On a $500,000 deal, that comes out to $3,500. That goes to the state of Florida. It has nothing to do with title companies. It doesn't matter where you go to close. It doesn't matter which title company, which attorney. It's 70 cents per 100, and it's because we don't pay state income tax like other states do. So this is a way for Florida to make money. Anytime you buy or sell real estate, you have to pay doc stamps on the sales price.
Well, if we take away this, we end up with an estimate of 7,600, and so it's about less than 2% of the selling price. So we're gonna go to the next page. Still $500,000 property. With a mortgage of $200,000. Here's is the lender's title insurance. So I understand it's different from the owner's title insurance, because here it protects the lenders against problems with the title. Correct? And we can see that it's a fee that's of course paid by the buyer who's taking the mortgage. Everything else stays the same, and then we have two lines here: endorsement, environmental liens, and easements restriction. Can you?
Sure. So on the lender's title insurance policy, that's required if you get a mortgage. Sometimes it's called simultaneous issue policy because we're issuing it with an owner's policy, but it protects the lender, like Sophie said. But that can vary between companies, title companies, and attorneys. It can vary. I don't know that I've seen less than 200 lately, up to 500 maybe. And then the endorsements are required by the bank. Again, I had a quote recently where somebody went online to get a mortgage and they left out endorsements. Those are required by the lender. That doesn't vary between title companies. Okay. In Florida, that Alta 8.1, it's an environmental lien endorsement. It's usually 10%, it's usually those two endorsements, 8.1 and 6, are required by the lender usually. This is also an estimate because depending on the lender things might change. But those, on this example, are $50 each we were charging. So it came out to $100 for 2 endorsements. That can vary between title companies and attorneys, anywhere from $50 to $150 per endorsement. I mean, they can upcharge what they want on that basically. But the Florida Form 9 endorsement is always 10% of the title insurance amount. That's the lowest lot. And that's required by the bank. It's extra protection for the bank in case there's any easements or restrictions or minimal things that might have been missed or not covered. So that's why it's $292.50.
Okay, something that we didn't put in it's the survey. So usually when there is a mortgage, the lender can require, and usually he does require a survey, which is going to be the property's boundary lines and legal descriptions and all the easements included. And usually it varies from $200 to $800. It depends on the size
of the property. I mean, the one for the empty land of hundreds of acres, they wanted the survey company. We don't decide these prices. We get bulk pricing from different survey companies, and every company is different. They wanted 11,000. One company wanted for hundreds of acres. So depending on the size of the house and the property and the land.
Usually what I saw, in this reasonable size of the property is between 300, 500, 600. And it's, again, the buyer usually pays the survey. Then here what do we have? We have the doc stamps mortgage, or we have the mortgage recording fee and the doc stamps mortgage paid by the buyer.
And the intangible tax.
And the intangible tax, So
it's the state of Florida again. So the recording fee is based on the number of pages in the mortgage and depending on the county. So that's why it's an estimate, because every county could be different. And every mortgage one can have 10 pages, one might have 23 pages, depending on the lender. So that is not usually set by the title company or attorney. And same thing with the doc stamps and the intangible tax. 35 cents per 100 and 20 cents per 100 unless it changes, which the state or the county can change fees, but for now, that also goes to the state. Again, we don't have state income tax, so anytime there's a mortgage financing or you buy or sell a property, that's the way the state makes income. So they make it, it's based on the mortgage amount. So here we used a mortgage amount of $200,000. So again, it'll vary depending on the mortgage amount.
Okay, clear. So you can see that the settler amount doesn't change. It's the same because most of those fees, all of the fees are paid by the buyers because it's related to the mortgage he takes. That's about it. Now, other question that we have is, do I have to be at closing? Do I have to be present at closing?
In the state of Florida, you don't have to. So every company is differently how they handle that. Some companies offer a mobile notary, which we've been doing lately. Some people don't want to go to an office, physical office. So every company is different as far as giving the choice. I just had a client tell me a couple of weeks ago, a small attorney down south was only wanted people to come to his office, and he would not even find the client a mobile notary. So every company is different, or every firm. We can do mobile notaries, we can do mail away if they're out of state. We did one where somebody was in Japan. We have a special system for that, electronic, that protects privacy. It's a sophisticated third-party system we use for somebody that was in Japan with the military. So there's electronic, mobile notary, where somebody goes to either your house or whatever office they want to, or even the property address. Since the pandemic, we've had people close in their garage and their driveways, so there's no rule of thumb now. And mailaways, so those are all the choices that I know of.
Okay, I hope it helps. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us, either Corinne for the title company. I'm going to put down all her contact information, or me, of course. We can do provide simulation, this kind of simulation for any property in Florida
or Michigan for me.
Or Michigan for me on Florida. And you're having a good day. Bye bye.
Bye.